Hello friends. Today I will discuss the cognitive development theory of Jean Piaget. Cognitive development theory of Jean Piaget. You know, Jean Piaget was a renowned psychologist of the world who contributed the cognitive development theory. And the cognitive development theory, which is also called the cognitive substitute theory. So what is cognitive development theory? What are the different developmental characteristics in different stages of cognitive development? We will discuss in detail. This is a very important topic for you for all type of examination, particularly in all type of teacher eligible test or any kind of the competitive examinations. At least one or two questions will come from this topic. So try to understand better. You know well that each and every human being is endowed with power of cognition. For this, human being is different from the animals, and human being is called the supreme being of the world because human being has the cognition. In literary terms, cognition means what? Consciousness. And what is the dictionary meaning of the cognition? Dictionary meaning of the cognition means knowledge. Cognition means knowledge. So, in simple term, we can say cognitive development refers to various aspects of development of memory, concept formation, language, thinking, reasoning, imagination, judgment, attention, concentration, etc. It means that cognition related to what your the mental ability of an individual, related to mental ability of an individual. Okay, so let us discuss. Just a minute. Uh, so let us discuss about Jean Piaget. Who was Jean Piaget and what is his contribution to uh, psychology particularly? You know, Jean Piaget, a Swiss psychologist, the exponent of the theory of cognitive development, and this is the best contribution of Jean Piaget to the history of educational psychology or psychology. To him, the cognitive development means how knowledge is acquired and developed through successive stages and at various age levels. So it means that you are Jean Piaget who divided the stages of cognitive development into four parts. And how cognitive development occurs, that has been discussed by Jean Piaget, and his theory is also called the genetic genetic epistemology. Try to understand. The theory of Jean Piaget is otherwise known as genetic epistemology. Genetic epistemology. Okay. So uh, let us discuss what are the key concepts of cognitive development theory. Key concept of cognitive development theory. Each and every student has to understand the four or five the basic things or basic concept of your cognitive development theory. First one is your schema. What is schema? Schema refers to the pattern of behavior while interacting with objects, individuals, and different situations in life. Every individual, every person, every child has his or her own schema, pattern of behavior. While the individual comes across with any situation, any event, any individual, or any object, the person interacts according to his schema. The schemas can be divided into two parts. One is your behavioral schema, that is your general human behaviors, you can say, and another is your cognitive schema, that is mental development, related to mental development. Okay, so schema is of generally whenever we interact with general activities, so that can be called the your behavioral schema, or which is related to the general human behavior. And the behaviors which are related to our cognition, our thinking, reasoning, memory, okay, perception, conception, sensation. So that type of schema is called the cognitive schema. This is the first concept to be kept in mind while you will discuss about or think about the cognitive development theory of Jean Piaget. Another thing is that your assimilation. What is assimilation? Assimilation takes place when a child uses his schema already present in his mind over a new problem or situation. ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ କୌଣସି ସମସ୍ୟାର ସମ୍ମୁଖୀନ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି, when we face a problem, when any kind of the new thing has been presented before us, always we try to connect with the prior knowledge or prior experiences. That is what is called assimilation. We try to assimilate the event, the new knowledge or new whatever it may be, situation, new problem to our previous knowledge or prior experiences. That is what is called assimilation. It means the assimilation takes place when the child uses his schema already present in his mind over a new problem, situation, or subject. It is a process of adjusting new information in the existing schema. In simple word, you can say what is assimilation? The process of adjusting new information in the existing schema. Try to understand the concept well. Next one is your accommodation. First one is your assimilation, and next one is your accommodation. What do you mean by accommodation? Accommodation means making changes in the existing schema to fit in the new ideas or objects. आमे assimilation कौन कले जहाँ अच्छी ता सहित को आमे कौन करिया relate करिया पे चेष्टा करछथि. Try to relate the new situation with the prior knowledge or prior experiences. But accommodation means what? Making changes in the existing schema to fit in new ideas or situation. When we fail to assimilate the new situation with the prior experience or prior knowledge, we try to what? To fit the new ideas or objects with the existing schema. This operates when the old schema does not work. When the old schema does not work, the child has to adjust or accommodate with the new, with the old. Okay, accommodation means the what? For example, what the previous schema with us, previous pattern of behavior is unable to adjust with the new situation. At that time, we think altered. So this operates when the old schema does not work, and the child has to adjust or accommodate with the new schema or new situation. This is called the your accommodation. And next one is your equilibrium, balancing situation, we can say. Equilibrium means a state of even mental balance, a state of mental balance. When a child faces a new problems, okay, faces new problems, and his existing schema does not work, what will be his state of what will be your mindset? What will be his state of affair? So this it means that when a child faces a new problem and his existing schema does not work, this state of affairs brings out disequilibrium in the mind of the child. Unbalancing situation will be created. There is a new situation or a new problem or a new, we can say, concept, and the child is unable to assimilate or accommodate. So at that time, what will happen? That this equilibrium in the mind will be created. At this stage, the child has to face, the child has to focus his attention on the new concept or situation, and he develops the new schema or modify his old schema to suit the new situation. When the assimilation and accommodation is not possible, the child try to solve that problem. Child try to construct the new knowledge, creating his own what you can say. It means that focus his attention to the new concept or situation, and he develops a new schema or modify his old schema to suit the new situation. Could you get my point? This situation, according to Piaget, enables this child to grow or to learn. Could you get my point? This is what is called your equilibrium. So, keeping in view the four basic concepts like schema, assimilation, accommodation, and equilibrium, your the famous psychologist, Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget divided the cognitive stages, cognitive development into four basic stages. Okay, so what I have told you while I was discussing with Jean Piaget, what is cognitive development according to Jean Piaget? Cognitive development means how knowledge is acquired and developed through successive stages at various age level. It means at various age level, at various stages of life, how knowledge is acquired or developed. So keeping in view that, he divided the stages or the cognitive development stages into four parts. What are the four stages? Try to understand. This is a very important question for you. First one is your sensory motor stage, and the duration of the sensory motor stage is birth to 2 years. Then your pre-operational stage, that is 2 to 7 years. We can say that is your early childhood period. Sensory motor is the infancy period, birth to 2 years. Next, your concrete operational stage, that is 7 to 12. It means that is the later childhood, you can say. And your formal operational stage, that is 12 to adulthood. It means that is the teenage and that is the adolescence period. Clear? There are the four stages. According to Piaget, cognitive development stages are of four types, or there are the four stages of cognitive development according to the Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget. That is your sensory motor stage, pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and formal operational stage. And what is the age or duration of these stages? The first stage, that is your sensory motor stage, that is birth to 2 years. We can say that comes at the infancy period. Okay. So pre-operational stage, that is 2 to 7 years, that comes at the stage of, you can say, early childhood period. This third stage, which is named as the concrete operational stage, that stage, the duration of that stage is 7 to 12 years, or in other words, we can say your concrete operational stage comes at later childhood period, right? And next is formal operational stage, that is the fourth stage or last stage of cognitive development according to Jean Piaget. That duration is 12 to adulthood. It means that 12 to 19, up to 19. That is the teenage, you can say. That is the adolescence period. Let us discuss how cognitive development occurs in different stages of life. First one is your sensory motor stage. So sensory motor stage, Piaget says the newborn baby is initiator of behavior. He creates his own world, which is connected with satisfaction of immediate words. Infancy stage, 2 years age, after 2 years, the child doesn't know about much more thing of the world. Mother, family members are is only the society, right? And he thinks that whatever immediate satisfaction gets, he reacts to the his desires and wants, that what gives the immediate satisfaction. So he creates his own world which is connected with the satisfaction of immediate wants. जी तार immediate आशा को पूर्ण कर दउची, इच्छा को पूर्ण करूची, ता से connect हुई. सेति में in this period generally the child connects with the mother, connects with the family members only, and his behavior is mainly reflexive in nature, right? It's mainly reflexive, and the intellectual development that occurs at this stage is, what are the intellectual development occurs during your sensory motor stage? First is sensory motor solution to the problem. Sensory motor solution to the problem. These are the questions in your TET examination. Coordinations of sense motor organs. Coordination of sense motor actions. Sense motor actions. And a very important thing that occurs during this stage, that is object concept formation. Object concept formation is very important. You can say cognitive development during this stage. And another most important, that object permanence. Object permanence. This is a very important question for you. Object concept formation and object permanence are the two important behaviors for cognitive development during the sensor motor stage. And another thing is that what happens here, that the appearance of curiosity is identified during this period. You can see the child of up to 2 years, the full of curiosity. Curiosity, I can say, for getting more and more knowledge, but curiosity can be shown in his face, in his behavior also. ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଛୋଟ ପିଲାଟାକୁ ଦେଖୁଥିବା, ତା ଭିତରେ ଲାଗୁଥିବ ଗୋଟେ କୌଣସି ଜିନିଷ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ସେ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଛି, ସେ ହସୁଥିବ, ମାନେ ତାର ଶରୀରକୁ ସେ ହଲଉଥିବ, ବୁଝୁଛି? So that is what is called the appearance of curiosity. Appearance of curiosity. Similarly, appearance of imitation also. At this stage, the imitation also starts. Child try to imitate, try to copy to others. And another thing is that objectify the time. So these are the very important, we can say, the cognitive developments occurs during your sensory motor stage. Next stage is your pre-operational stage, and that is your, we can say, the stage come during your early childhood period. And pre-operational stage is called the pre-operational stage. At this stage, what happens? The logical thinking are not fully developed. In your pre-operational stage, no logical thinking will be developed. It is also called the, or you can say not fully developed, but something, some logical thinking will be developed in the mind of the child. That is why it is called the pre-logical period or partly logical period. For example, you can see the child's behavior like, taku delo mote kaing delani. This is the logic. So I want to give this small example here. Okay. So here what happens? Logic, one type of the rational thinking to justify, to rationalize will start, but that is not matured. So pre-operational stage can also be called as the pre-logical or partly logical period. Partly logical stage. And here this stage has two sub-stages. First is your egocentric stage, or you can say the period of symbolic thought. The duration is 18 months to 4 years. This is very important for you, for examination point of view. Egocentric stage, or that is called the period of symbolic thought, and the duration is 18 months to 4 years. And next is intuitive stage, that is 4 to 7 years. So the pre-operational stage is divided in two parts. One is egocentric stage and another is intuitive stage. So let me discuss what are the important developmental characteristics. Cognitive developmental characteristics are shown during this stage particularly. What are the developmental characteristics shown during this stage particularly? Let me discuss. First one is that A rapid development of spoken language. This is the most important contribution of this stage. Cognitive development characteristic of this stage. A rapid development of your what? Your spoken language. The child acquire more and more, not learn, rather acquire. So here acquisition of knowledge develops, not learning of knowledge. The child acquires the knowledge interacting with or listening from the parents, family members, and also the neighbors. And this is the pre-school stage, or at the end of your, or we can say now, we can say at the age of 3 or 4, or at the age of 3, the child goes to school. That is preschool in nursery. That's why when we come across the different members of the society, family members, neighbors, etc., the grasping of more and more words for vocabulary stock of vocabulary will be enriched. So rapid development of spoken language. Dominance of perpetual and symbolic thoughts. Symbolic thought will be developed during time. Symbolic thought will be developed at that time. Next is your egocentric thinking will be developed. Very egocentric. This is very peculiar stage. Egocentrism. Egocentrism means what? This is mine. This doll is of mine. This is mine. This is not others. So it means that the child will say, "It a more da, sida tarada." Basically, the child thinks that everything is for me and everything is belong to me. Okay, he is my mother, he is my father. That's knowledge of mine. Okay, the such type of the ecocentrism will be created. I feeling. Animistic thinking will also be developed. It means that movable things are alive and immovable things are not alive. Child thinks that those are moving, these are the alive. And those are not moving, they are not alive. This type of feeling will be created. Realism in thinking. So realism also, considering that dreams are true and real. Realism in thinking. So he thinks that dreams are true and real. मजे हंसते हो तो पिला कौन करते हो ये सब. Realism thinking. Concepts stable generalization of past and present experiences. Concepts are the stable generalization of past and present experiences. So these are the cognitive characteristics generally shown during the pre-operational stage. Let me discuss your concrete operational stage. The concrete operational stage, that is your 7 to 12 years. What will happen here? Here what happens? You are during this stage, uh, logical thinking of concrete objects. Concrete, not abstract things. Try to understand. So your logical thinking of concrete objects will be developed. In previous stage is called the pre-thinking stage. Here, logical thinking will be developed. For what? For the concrete objects. Concrete object means the objects which can be visible, tangible, etc. Okay, that is movable. That is called the. So the child will think logically about the concrete objects. Next one is waiving of egocentrism. A child is able to take others' point. What happens in the previous stage? Egocentrism. But now at this stage, the child tries to be sociable. The child will also consider, the child will also agree, the child will also accept the other's points. This is the, we can say, the social quality of the child also. Previous days, the child thinks what I say, that is everything, and all things surrounding him, that is of mine, himself or herself. ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ତାର ବୋଲି ସେ ଭାବୁଥିଲା. But during this stage, the child will respect others, respect the opinion of others, respect the points of others. Okay, so waiving of egocentrism as child is able to take others' point. Understanding of conservation of numbers, length, area, ultimately volume. In previous stage, what happens? Ball means ball. It may not be big, small. No, ball means ball. But during stage, the child can understand, can differentiate big ball, small ball, blue ball, white ball. Okay, it means that understanding of conservation of numbers, length, area, and ultimately the volumes. This is the Another development occurs during this stage. Next is thinking multiple dimensions of a single object and also reverse thought. So the child is able to think in multiple way of a single subject and also reverse thought also. Reverse thought. It means that what I have told you, the your concrete logical thinking on the concrete concept will be developed in different way, multiple way, not the single way. Multiple dimensions of a single object and also your reverse thought will be developed during this time. And another most important thing that develops during that is child is able to classify, arrange, and group objects. Child is able to classify, arrange, and group objects. At that time your puzzles will be given to the students. बहुत गुड़े shape दिया जाए पिलाମାନଙ୍କୁ shape गुड़ा उसे arrangement करिवो ठीक रे जानथियो पिलाମାନଙ୍କୁ दिया जाए. So he can classify. ब्लू कलर रो गोटे पट रखि दे पारिबो, व्हाइट कलर गोटे पट रखि पारिबो, बड़ो मान गोटे पट रखिबो, साना गोटे पट रखि पारिबो, एनिमल्स गोटे पटे, बर्ड्स गोटे पटे, जो स्पेसिमेन कथा हम कहूछ. The child can classify and arrange and group objects. For example, you have given some animals specimens. The child will divide your animals and birds in the one side animals and another side birds. On the one side big your structured big sized animals and small sized animals. Sometimes you can also classify in different way also. So the classification, the capacity to classify, arrange and group objects also develop. These are very important point for you. Try to understand. In multiple type of questions, such type of questions will come. And the fourth stage, that is called the formal operational stage. And this is a very important stage of development. And the important cognitive development happens at this stage are, what are the stages your cognitive development occurs during this stage? Child develops abilities of thinking and reasoning. In the previous stage, logical thinking on concrete things will be developed. But in formal operational stage, your abstract thinking will be developed. Abstract thinking will be developed. The child can smell your feeling. The child can analyze your feeling, your behavior, your word, etc. So the ability of thinking and reasoning, try to know the reason, try to justify a thing. So that type of capacity or mental ability will be developed during this stage. And his thought process becomes very systematic and well integrated during this stage. Okay, thought process will be very systematic and well integrated. It means that his thought process will, we can say, move towards the scientific way, systematically, scientifically try to integrate the thoughts. Okay, and whenever any new situation comes, the child apply logic or rationality, you can say, to solve the problems. It means he or she doesn't accept anything blindly. The child think logically, think rationally. So he applies the logical thinking or logic, you can say, to solve any problems. And another most important thing that the child, or we can say not child here, the child, adult, we can say, and during he or she is able to organize information, reason scientifically. Okay, organize what happens here? Organize information, reason scientifically, and formulate hypothesis. It means that organizational capacity, organization of the information in the systematic way will be developed in the stage. And whatever maybe you say to the child try to justify scientifically, try to know the reason scientifically, try to know the rationality of the thing, and he also formulate the hypothesis, the tentative solutions. The child will think the formulate the hypothesis, that is called, we can say, the tentative solutions. And use at this stage, what happens? Use abstract rules to solve the problems. So in previous stage, logical thinking on the concrete things, what happens? The abstract things. He can understand your gesture. He can critically analyze your word, what you want to say, what is your intention exactly. You are during this stage can understand that. So use abstract rules to solve the problems. And another important thing happens during stage, that is transfer of understanding from one situation to another situation. For example, the one situation, it means that try to solve the problems from by applying his thinking, knowledge, etc. from one situation to another situation. That happens. So this is regarding the, in short, I can say the brief discussion about the four stages of cognitive development according to Jean Piaget. So what is the educational implication of these four stages? If the teacher can understand better the developmental characteristics during these four stages, the child or the parent, so you can say the parents and the teachers or any stockholder or stakeholders who are related to education can arrange the educational programs in that way. Could you get my point? So if the teacher doesn't know this develop, for example, if the teacher at the stage of your, or you can say sensory motor stage or pre-operational stage, will give you are compel the child for the rational thinking, for the abstract thinking, the child will be failed. And at the your first sensory motor stage, if the teacher or parent try to you can say wipe up the egocentrism of this child, it is a the nature, this is the nature of the child. ଜଣେ କହିବ ତାର ଇଗୋସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରିକ ମୁଁ ହଟାଇ ଦେବି, କେବେ ବି ହବ ନାହିଁ sir. That is the your developmental characteristics during that stage. So the teacher should understand that, the parents should understand that. So without knowing these developmental characteristics, good educational programs cannot be developed. Good learning activity cannot be, or effective learning activity cannot be developed. So the cognitive development theory of Jean Piaget has significant contribution to theory and practice of education. And in this theory, Piaget defined and interpreted intelligence in a practical way. He highlighted the importance of drives and motivation in the field of learning and development, helps to organize different activities for better learning. So we have to develop, being the teacher, we have to develop the suitable activities according to the developmental developmental stages. According to the developmental stages or mental ability of the students, we have to develop the learning activities. Otherwise, what will happen? That will bounce. आमे जदि पिलांकर मानसिक अवस्था ठारू दूर रही आमे जदि इमोशन है कि बड़ बड़ प्रोग्राम करिया, generally what happens, mothers what imposes to the child from the beginning to learn more and more concepts. What happens? So that severely impacts on the mental development of the child. आजिकल माँ मैंने जन्म हो पाठ पढ़ा आरंभ कर दौरान माने शह शह राइम शिखे दौरान, वर्ड शिखा चेष्टा कर, they don't think about the what is the mental ability of the child. So when the parents or the teachers do not know these developmental characteristics, they commit the mistakes. They pressurize the child. Okay, they impose the child through different activities. What will happen then? It will burst. Okay, it will bounce, you can say. ଏହା ହିଁ ହେଉଛି ପିଲାଙ୍କର କେପାସିଟି ବାହାରେ ଆମେ କଣ କରୁଛୁ, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆକ୍ଟିଭିଟି ଦଉଛୁ ଯୋଉଟା କି ପିଲା ସେ ଷ୍ଟେଜରେ କରିବା କଥା ନାହିଁ. ମୁଁ ତ ଦେଖୁଛି ଛୋଟ ଛୋଟ ପିଲା ଏକ କ୍ଲାସ ପଢିଥିବ କି ନାହିଁ କି ନର୍ସରୀ ପଢୁଥିବ 50ଟା 40ଟା ଲେଖା ରାଇମ ଘୁଷୁଛନ୍ତି ପିଲା, ଶହ ଶହ ୱାର୍ଡ, ପ୍ରୋଜେକ୍ଟ ୱାର୍କ, ହୋମୱାର୍କ, ଟ୍ୟୁସନ. ହ୍ୱାଟ ୱିଲ୍ ହାପେନ୍ ଟୁ ଦି ଚାଇଲ୍ଡ? କଣ ହବ ଚାଇଲ୍ଡର? ବୁଝି ହଉଛି କଥାଟା? ତେଣୁକରି ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟାଲ କ୍ୟାରେକ୍ଟରିଷ୍ଟିକ୍ସ ଅନୁସାରେ ଆମକୁ କଣ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ନା ଲର୍ନିଂ ଆକ୍ଟିଭିଟି କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ. Could you get my point? So I can say the theory of Jean Piaget provides a suitable framework for learning experiences in view of the cognitive development of the children and needs of the society. It is also helpful not only for developing your learning activities, not only it helps to the parents and teachers to develop according to the developmental characteristics of the child. It also helps to the curriculum planners, experts, educationists for developing your developing curriculum. Could you get my point? So these are the educational implications of your cognitive development theory of Jean Piaget. So I have discussed here in a simple way, in a nutshell way, regarding the Jean Piaget, his developmental characteristics, meaning of cognition, and also four important stages of cognitive development. Now the time for discussion. You can ask questions either what any means. Okay.